In this video, I'm going to show you a few steps on how you can turn a sexless marriage into a sex-filled paradise. Most guys are over-validating their wife. They're chasing after her, putting her on a pedestal. They're looking at her like, this person's opinion of me matters more than my own opinion of myself. The problem with this is that now she's in control of the relationship. She's the one leading all the interactions. Why? Because every little thing she does has you chasing after her. She doesn't want you chasing after her. I don't care what society tells you. I don't care what kind of romantic movies you've been watching or crappy songs from the 80s. You never chase your wife. I see this all the time. Like you'll have a guy in a relationship with his wife, and what he'll be doing is he'll always be going after, like trying to get affection. How's your day? What are you up to? And just kind of following her around the house. And I look at him like, when does she ever like reach out to him for affection? When does she initiate any kind of affection? And there isn't any, because he's always trying to like get it from her, get it from her, get it from her to validate himself. Because he keeps feeling like if I can make her happy, then she'll love me forever. And that's a big problem. Your job isn't to make your wife happy. Your job is to have a partnership with your wife and to go forward and grow as individuals, expand eternally as spiritual beings together as a partnership. If you're always trying to get your wife's approval, if you're always trying to make her happy, then what you're doing is you're putting your spiritual game on hold to make sure that she's doing well. She's like, I don't want to be with a guy who's catering to me all the time. I want to be with a man who has value and purpose and has direction in his life. And I want him to go towards that. Because from her perspective, the only thing you got going on in your life is her. And you're like, well, she always says she wants to be like the most important thing in my life. It's like, she can be the most important person, but she shouldn't be the most important thing. You got some other shit you got to do. You got a career. You got a business, you've got children, you've got other things that are important. You've got this journey that you're trying to take her on. That should be bigger than just the marriage. The marriage isn't your life. The marriage is a part of the life that you're already creating. So you stop going after her so much. Stop trying to validate yourself. Stop trying to pull sex from her all the time. She doesn't need that. She needs you to move powerfully as a man forward in your life in the direction that you decide it should be, not in the direction that she wants you to be. And she may tell you that she wants it to be a certain way, but this is the second point. You're too agreeable. Too agreeable. So for most guys, they're either too agreeable or they're just an asshole. There's just like this, not this common ground, this common middle ground. He won't really listen to his wife. He'll just like push her off or whatever. And those relationships are usually pretty easy to solve. All we have to do is just say, hey man, just go look at your wife, be present, and talk with her. Try to feel her. And then she just opens up, and it's easy. It's easy to solve those kind of marriages. If a woman's trying to leave her husband, and this is the situation, that's really easy to solve. The hard ones is when we have the guy who's always chasing after his wife for validation. And at this point, she's so sick of him and so full of resentment because he's weak and he's been showing up and not really leading a relationship. And that's the hard ones to do, because she sees that everything that he does is just trying to get her back. Even if he makes these changes, they're not real. They're just more validation-seeking behavior. And so in this place, the only thing she can trust is you being more disagreeable. Telling her no, telling her, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go my own way and do my own thing, regardless of your opinion. That's what's something that she can trust, because the old guy would never do that. Everything was just always, hey, well, honey, where do you want to eat for dinner? Hey, where do you want to go on vacation? Hey, what would you like to do tonight? Hey, which TV show would you like to do? And he makes no direction on anything that's happening. And so these guys that are really approval seeking, they just not working on their appeal. Like, what do you mean, appeal? Well, is he actually going to the gym? Is he going and validating himself by like dressing well? Does he groom himself properly? Does he actually have friends outside of the marriage? Does he have other females that he's talking to, not in a romantic sense, but in a way that he can actually have healthy interactions without trying to get approval from them too? He's not self-validated. He's getting his validation from her. All his approval is coming from her. He goes and he's trying to talk to her all the time. The problem is he's not actually trying to talk to her. What he's doing is he's pinging her all the time saying, hey, do you still like me? Do you still like me? Do you still like me? She doesn't want a guy that needs to be validated by her. And a lot of women put up with this quite a bit. I'm surprised how patient women are when it comes to this behavior. And then when the guy finally gets ghosted by her because he keeps doing this so much, he shows me like, holy shit, dude, she put up with like 3 months of this before she finally got sick of your ass? Well, shit, no wonder. I wouldn't want that. I couldn't have my wife doing that to me. It'd drive me crazy trying to get validation from me all the time. I don't want that. I want a partner in my life. And this is what's going on with your woman. She wants a partner. She's already with you. She married you. She chose you. You're already validated. You don't need any more than that. You don't need this constant thing and a reminder. The problem is you don't have it within. And so this is why it's important for you to work on your appeal. Work on the way you look. Work on the way you dress. Work on the way you interact with people and how you emote and how you enunciate your language and all of these things, your charisma. This is the kind of thing that'll help you out more in your relationship with your wife than you realize. You don't have to talk about your issues with her all the time. Oftentimes, it's better to just start leading by example, by doing. If you keep saying, hey, honey, we're not having enough sex. I want to have more sex. And you try to have this logical discussion with her about an emotional thing, it's not going to register. The sex is an emotional thing. It's a biological thing. You can't logically make yourself find a woman attractive any more than you can change your shoe size. It's ridiculous. So stop trying to logically try to change things in your relationship. If you want to have a different kind of relationship, you have to operate different. Just start doing things different. You don't stop doing the things you don't want to do. Stop trying to go after her all the time. Start making decisions. Start being more decisive in where you're going with your life and the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Make plans without telling her. You don't have to tell her every little thing you're doing. It's not saying that you should be suspicious in your behavior, but what I'm saying is like you can set up a gym membership and then just start going. She's like, where were you? He's like, I started a gym membership. She's like, oh shit, you did? Okay. You didn't tell me about it? Like, no. Why would you have to tell her? Hey, baby, I'm going to start going to the gym. What do you think of that? Isn't that awesome? And she's going to say, get the fuck out of here. If you really want to do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. And this is what she wants from you, to do things for yourself. Just operate different. You don't need to talk about any of this. In fact, it's better you don't talk about it. Leadership is about leading. It's not about saying what you're going to do, and then if you get approval, you'll finally do it. I'm just going to go do this and just make it happen. And when you don't get your way, stop having temper tantrums. We all know what a temper tantrum is when it comes from a guy. He either gets really upset, well, I don't know, you just don't understand like how I am, sex is a need, and you should always, service me or whatever. Or he'll just kind of get pouty about it, be like, okay, start moping around. Instead of just saying like, okay, fine, whatever. And it's because most guys are so sex addicted. Like it's on their mind so much from so much porn and TV and things going on, especially if you're in a sexless marriage. The guy's probably watching a lot of porn. And so what he's doing is he's trying to get validation from his wife through sex. If she'll have sex with me, then she must still love me. He ends up going after the sex to get the validation, to get the connection. And from her perspective, she's like, can we have some connection first? Can we actually see each other, see eye to eye? And she's like, we're not getting along at all, yet he wants to have sex? Like, I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense for her because you're not connecting at all. But you're like, well, I just need to relieve the pressure. Yeah, because your mind is addicted to the sex. It's been that way for a long time. So now you're looking at your wife as a pressure relief valve instead of actually connecting with her. No, it's no wonder that in that situation, she's like, all you think about is sex. You don't care about me. You just want the sex. And she's right, because that's what you're using her as. You're using her as a jack-off tool, essentially. And so how are you gonna have a sex-filled marriage if you're looking at your wife this way? You're like, if we just had tons of sex, I'd feel better. I'd finally get my needs met. The pressure would be off, and I'd feel validated. And it's like it doesn't work that way. Your wife is there to help you grow as an individual, and what she's doing, she's highlighting something within you that needs to be resolved. Instead of trying to resolve it within yourself, you end up looking at her and make her change. That doesn't work. How do I know? Is it working for you now? No, of course not. Well, you wouldn't be watching this video. So, again, to recap, stop being so nice. Too nice in the way that if I'm super nice, she'll want to be with me more, like going after her, right? Be more disagreeable. In other words, you don't have to agree with everything she says. Go do other things in your life. Go find more power in your life. Go do things and stop asking for permission for all the time. Work on your appeal. Work on your charisma. Work on validating yourself. Work on the way you dress. Work on the way you talk. Be more aware of how you're working internally so that when you are interacting with other people, you can do it in an open and honest fashion without all this manipulation or fear or worrying about what other people are thinking all the time. Stop trying to pull it from her all the time. Stop trying to pull the sex. Let her come to you in her own time. You'll be amazed that if you just allowed her to come to you in her own time, stop trying to do all these little things, touch her on the shoulder, touch her on the ass, trying to do all these innuendos and the way you talk, you just leave her alone, she'll most likely start coming to you for affection. And stop trying to talk about her all the time. Just lead. Lead by example. You don't need to talk about all this stuff all the time. And finally, stop having emotional temper tantrums. Stop either being a baby or a bastard about it. Be a centered guy. Just because she doesn't want sex now doesn't mean she won't in the future. In fact, she probably will at some point. You start doing these things, she's going to want it from you. She's just not feeling it because you're not operating properly in your life. And that's really what it comes down to. She's going to be more attracted to how you operate in life than the way that you look. All right, brother, hope you found this video helpful in turning your sexless marriage into a sex-filled marriage. And if you have success, comment below. Tell me about what's been going on with you. If you need help, comment below. If you have tried something that I haven't mentioned, definitely comment below. And if you like this video, hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more in the future.